Hello, I welcome you to this edition of my Django class. In this particular video, I'll be showing you how to start your Django project and how to do some basic authentications like login, registration, reset password, and confirm reset password. Okay, so let's get on with that. Of course, you know that Django is a full stack framework built with Python. Now, Django handles a lot of things for you, leaving you to concentrate on building the project. Now, let's see how to start. So we start by creating our virtual environment. So we need a terminal. So there are several ways I can do this. I either use a separate terminal or I can just come to these three dots. If you are making use of Visual Studio Code, click here and then select terminal and new terminal. Click there and a terminal is going to spawn up. Then you can come here and select the particular terminal that you want to use. So I want to use the Windows command prompt. Now let us start our project. So let's install a virtual environment. So the first thing we need to do is you need to make sure you have virtual environment installed on your system. Okay, so once you have virtual environment and you have Python installed on your system, then you are good to go. So let's get on to create a virtual environment. So to create a virtual environment, what we need to do is we specify the name of the virtual environment. So for me, I am going to say blog env. Sorry, you say Python -m VEMV. That's the short form for virtual environment, and then the name of the virtual environment, which I am going to call blog env. Now this is, you are calling Python module from here and you are specifying the module, which is virtual environment, and then you want to create this virtual environment. So if you hit enter, a folder is going to be created. If you look at this place, you're going to see this folder. Now this folder is the place where every dependency of Python will be installed for you so that you can use it to do your job. Now, one of the essence of having a virtual environment separate from your local environment is that sometimes you may install a lot of modules on your local environment and it will have issue, it will clash with each dependency, and once it clashes, it will affect the project. So when you separate it in a different virtual environment, each of your projects exists in a different virtual environment. So there is nothing like the clash of dependencies or modules that you installed. I just hope you understand what I just said now. So having created a virtual environment, I will go ahead to activate this virtual environment. And to activate this virtual environment, what I am going to do is I am going to call the name of the virtual environment that I created, which in my case is blog env, then backslash. That's if you are making use of Windows, you use backslash scripts, and it's going to be a capital letter /activate.bat. Now this command is basically for Windows. As you can see, I am making use of the command prompt, so the Windows command prompt. So this is basically for the Windows users. Now you can see that the virtual environment has been activated. Now if you are making use of Linux or Mac, you simply use this one, source space the name of the virtual environment, which is in my case blog env slash. So in Linux and Mac you use /bin / activate. Now if you hit enter, it's going to activate the virtual environment for you. That's if you're making use of Mac or Linux operating systems. Now, so having activated our virtual environment, what we need to do next is to install Django into this virtual environment. So to install Django, we use pip install Django. Now pip is a Python installation manager. Just like if you have been to JavaScript before, you will notice that the dependencies of JavaScript can be installed using npm or npx, which is the node package manager, and in Python we use pip. So whenever you install Python, pip comes with Python automatically, so you don't need to install it separately. Okay, so our Django is installing, so let's wait for it to install, then we proceed. Now our Django has installed successfully, so we can clear this off with CLS. If you are using Windows, if you are using Mac, you can just type clear. All right, now we have installed Django. The next thing is to start a project, start a Django project. And to start a Django project, we just use Django-admin. Now this Django admin is coming from our virtual environment because we installed Django inside this virtual environment. If you go to your virtual environment and you go to, I think, scripts, on the libs, you are going to see Django. So this is Django, and if I open this Django, we're going to see different things about Django. So then this is Django as well. So here this is what we are actually calling on. So please don't touch this particular folder, because if you touch it, if you make mistake to rewrite or maybe delete anything from this folder, you are going to continuously have issue in running your project. Okay, so what next is to start our Django project. So we use Django-admin, Django-admin start project. So we are going to write it together without a space, and then space with the name of the project. Let me call this project LearnPro. So let's call it LearnPro. So it's going to be an online learning management system. Okay, so Django has created a project, and if you look at it, we have this another folder containing this work. So but I want this manage.py to be within the same directory that contains my virtual environment. So I am going to delete this one. All right, now I am going to rerun this Django admin start project, but I'm going to this time around add a dot. Now this dot is to tell Django not to create additional folder. So you can see Django did not create additional folder because manage.py was created within the same directory that contains our virtual environment. So that's what this dot signifies. And this is my project directory. Now with this manage.py, manage.py serves as a command line interface that helps us to run our commands, our Django commands. So it's a very important file. Then if you open this project, which is LearnPro, you are going to see this first file, which is __init__.py. So this is basically an empty file, but this empty file tells Django to initialize this project. So let's see what the content is. You can see it's an empty file. You can see that. So it doesn't contain anything, but it just tells Django to initialize this project. Now the next file you will see there is the asgi.py. Now the asgi.py it helps us to handle asynchronous server gateway interface. So when you want to run an asynchronous server gateway interface application, we make use of the asgi.py. And we also have this one, which is settings.py. Now settings.py contains all the settings about our project. Let me go ahead to delete these ones, the comments, because I don't need it. Again, is that we will also have another one, which is urls.py. Now this urls.py helps us to handle all the URL routing. So all the URLs that will be in your project will be handled by the urls.py. And then finally we have the wsgi.py, which is whiskey.py, and this is basically handling web server gateway interface. So I would like you to read more about ASGI, that's asynchronous server gateway interface, and web server gateway interface. It is very important that you understand them and know the difference between the two of them. But sorry, but I am not going to be going into the details of the ASGI and WSSGI. So I am going to just concentrate on building our e-learning management system. All right, now let us see if our project was successfully installed. So to do that, we need to run our server and see what we have. So to run our server, we're going to just say python manage.py run server, and we hit enter. Now let's wait for it. All right, it has started a server for us. Let's just click here and we have this page. Now this is telling us the install worked successfully. Congratulations. So our project was installed successfully. That's actually what it is trying to tell us. Now let us go back to our project, and if you want to stop this server from running, you can just type Ctrl+C and the server is going to stop running. Then the next thing is to start our Django application. So the difference between the Django project and the Django application is that the applications handles specific tasks, whereas the project handles all our project. So take for instance something like Facebook as an example. Facebook contains the Messenger, it contains the Facebook Watch, it contains the Facebook to do, and it also contains Facebook business, it contains pages and so on. So all these things are the components of Facebook. So all the components of Facebook are regarded as Facebook apps. I hope you get it. So all the components of our project are regarded as our Django apps. Okay, so let us start our app. So the first app we are going to be starting at this place should be courses. Okay, let's be able to give out some courses to our students. So let's start an app. So to start an app, we use Django -admin space start app, and then space the name of the app. So let's call it course, and we hit enter. What's the problem? Okay, we have a typo, so let's correct it. So it's Django and not Jang. All right, if you look at this project directory here, you're going to notice that course was created for us. Now, let us see the content of this course. Now, on the course, we have another folder which is called migrations. And at this point, we don't have anything except the init.py. So the init.py is just to initialize the migrations, which I am going to tell you later on what the migrations does. But then, apart from the migrations, we have other files like init.py, which is also initializing our application. And then the admin.py, which handles admin interfaces. And then apps.py, which handles the app logics. And then the models.py, which handles the database. And then test.py, which we can use to test our applications. And then views.py, which handles what the user will see, the logic behind what every user will see. So let's close it. Now, since we have added this app into our project, now it is the project, the Django project, or Django in particular, will not be able to identify that you have an app here. So what you need to do is to tell Django that you created an app, and to do that you need to go to your project directory, which in my case is LearnPro, and we are going to go to the settings.py, and we are going to look for a place where it tells us installed apps. So this is a list of all the installed apps that we have. So you can see we have Django.contrib.admin, which controls the admin interface, and then Django.contrib.auth, which controls authentications, Django.contrib.content types, and so on. So what we need to do is to add our app here. So we can just use the same method, and our app is course. So now we have told Django that we have an app that is also called course. So Django has recognized the presence of this application. So let's close this. The next thing is to go to that course and create a urls.py. So we create a file called urls.py. Now, let us not do anything here for now, but let's go to the project directory, which in my case is LearnPro, and we will also see the one that Django created for us, which is the urls.py. Open it. If you read this thing, you see it says URL configuration for LearnPro project. So, and it tells you to do every other thing that is required. So I'm going to clear these comments, and the only thing I will need to do is just to I'll just copy this one. Don't worry about that. Now what we need to do is to add the URLs of our app, which is coming from course. So we need to import from Django.urls, we need to import include. So after importing include, we can then use path, and we now add include, and it's going to be we are going to include course dot URL, course.urls. So it's going to be a string. Okay, and I think that's all for now. Now the next thing we need to do is to go to the app, and we go to the urls.py of that app, and what we need to do is to paste the content that we just copied, and we are going to remove this admin, and then we have an empty string. I'll tell you what this empty string does, and we are going to have one more thing here. So we can say from dot import views. So what we are actually telling Django here is to import the view that exists within the same directory with our urls.py. So we have a urls.py within this directory called course, and within it we also have another file that is called views.py. Now Django is an MVT platform. MVT means model view template. So it follows model view template format, which means that the model is the database, it represents the database. So whichever information that we have in our database will be transferred to the views. Now the view will handle the logic on how the user is going to handle those information or those data that was gotten from the database, and then the view will now send it to the template, which is just your HTML, which displays it to the user. So we are at this point importing the content of the views. So that's what we are actually doing here. So, and for now, let's have something like views dot home, and then name is equal to home. So this is for our home page. So the home page usually does not have anything within the first string parameter. So within here we don't have to add anything, just to specify and make it the home page. Okay, now we can still use this name to call on this URL at any time. We'll still show you how to do that. So we can come to our views.py. Let me close up these ones. We now go to our views.py, and you can see that it says create your views here. So we can create a view by using either a function or a class. So we can actually use a class, or we can use a function to create a view. So let's use function in this case. Let's call it home, because we called it home in the urls.py here. You can see where we called it home. So let's also call it home so that we can be able to use it. So the function home is going to take a parameter or an argument, which is going to be request, and is going to return render method. So now it is now returning render. Now let's have this to return. Let's return something. Now to return something, we need to create a template. Remember MVT, model view template. So we have model here, we have view here, and then we need template. So we must create a template folder within the same directory that contains our app. So in our app, we're going to create a template. So let's create a folder and call it templates. So remember, these templates exist in the Django app. So in my Django app is course. So under it, inside of these templates, I am going to create my maybe index.html. Now let's add our HTML. Let's just return h1 and say welcome to my website. Okay. So we can come to the view and we return render for requests first, and then we also return the HTML, which in my case is index.html, and you can return any other thing of your choice, but for now let's just stop here. So since I have done all these things, I will try to run my server with python manage.py run server, and our server will start. Now our server has started running. I am not interested in this for now, but let's look at our website. So if you refresh it, so you see welcome to my website. So this is now returning our HTML. So we have done a lot of things just within some few minutes. So this is how we can return our HTML. All right, let's go back to our project. Let's pull this one down a little bit. All right, so we can as well do one more view so that you get to understand this thing. So let's create something like a login form, a login page. So let's create that. So function login, or rather let's use register, function register, and we also take another one which is the same thing, request, and we return render request and register.html. So we can come to this template again and we create register.html, and let's return. So let's return the same thing, h1, and say register here. Now let's go to our URLs, because without the URLs all these things will not work. So we now add it here in the URL as well, path, and we now specify this. So this is going to be register slash. So this is how we do it. Instead of doing it slash register, you now do register slash, and then which function is going to handle this register? So it's going to be the view.register. So we are calling on these particular views and this register function. So that's what we are calling on in this place, views.register, and the name is going to be register. Okay, so if I should go to my website now and do /register and hit enter, you see register here. So this is just our URL routing. So I would want you to do more. So create the URLs for about, for contact us, for dashboard, and several other pages of your choice. So having done that, that's the way you understand these things. These things, programming or web development requires constant practice, and through practice you tend to remember all the things that you have learned. Now, having said this, let us get back to our project. Now, the next thing is I want to start with my login page. I want anybody that comes into this website, I don't want them to see this particular page. I want them to be logged in before they can be able to see this particular page. Now, how do I do this? Let me show you. Now, to work on the, now you can see that I am not interested in the aesthetic at this moment. I'm not interested in the beauty at this moment. I am only interested in having the logics working. So once the logics are working, we can now build using HTML, CSS, JavaScript to beautify our project. So but at this moment, let us just concentrate on the logics. So let's go to build our logic, our login form. Now I want to take you to Django documentation. Now this is Django documentation for authentication. So you can read these things up, but I want to make use of this last method here. I don't want you to bother yourself. So but Django made everything easy for us, that we can just use this URL pattern and automatically we get to achieve login, logout, password change, that's reset password, and so on. So a lot of things has been done for us in Django. So let's do that. I am going to copy this one, this part. Let's open it here. Let's go to my URLs. So the URLs in my app. So I am going to open it up, and we now add this. So then we need to import include as well. Import include so that we can use it. Now let's go to our project, our website, and put /accounts. Let's remove this login. Now watch this. You can see that immediately I added this particular part, which is django.contrib.auth.urls. So this is just the contrib.auth that controls our authentication. So it has been done for us by Django. So immediately I added this, you notice that Django will create some few URL patterns, which includes account/login, account/logout, account/password change, and so on. Now we can still customize this to our test. Let's get it done. Now if I don't want it to be on the accounts, I can just simply remove it this way, and if you rerun this thing, it will give you issue. And if you look at it, it is no longer on the accounts. immediately I removed accounts. So if I use this like login, you see it says template does not exist. So the login has already been handled. And if you also do reset password as well, you will get that reset dash password. You will now see it says page not found. I think it is password change. So let's use password change. Password dash change. Password change. You can see. So all these things has been done for us. Password underscore reset. Password reset. Let's use password reset. Reset. So you can see 404 not found. I think let's try using underscore. You can see it also said operational error at password reset. No such table exists. So this is because we don't have any database on our table, and that's why we are having this this issue. Okay, so let's get to the login page. So to get to login, we just append slash login here, and it will tell us the same thing, template does not exist. So this is because Django did not see any template that is going to use to handle the login. So what we need to do is we go to our project and we remove this. We go to the templates. Here in the template, we create another folder and we call it registrations. Registration. Now we now create a file called login.html. So this is the convention, but you can still alter it, but this is the convention. So as you are still learning, I would want you to follow up with the convention. This is the generally accepted convention, but you can still alter it as you want. Okay, so we now create login.html, and let's create some login form. Let me change the title here to login, and here we can have form. Now the form action at this moment I don't need, but I need the form method, and the form method is going to be post, because login is supposed to be protected. So to protect the login, we must use post, okay, so that we don't pass sensitive informations to the URL. So that's why we are using post instead of get. All right, so now we can simply, since we have created this form, what we need to do next is to tell Django how to do some certain things. But before then, there is a very serious issue that we must handle, which is cross-site request forgery. So we can just create a Django tag, for CS cross-site request forgery, RF token. So this is very important. This is very important. Now let's see the documentation so that we get to understand the whole thing. Okay, you can see where they did it here. Form method, post, form action, and so on. But I'm not interested in the form action at this moment. but you can see what I am telling you, which is this. You can copy that, return back to this place. The same thing is here, but just to be sure. So this prevents cross-site request forgery attack on our website. So then we can also bring in the Django form, which in this case we can just say form. Now automatically Django will detect this form. Now let's rerun, and you'll see automatically we have this form. Now you notice that we did not create any form. We did not create any form inputs, but with this form Django is handling the whole thing for us. And if you right click and do view page source, you will notice that we now have input type of username. You can see these all things were created by Django and not by us. Okay, now we have another way to do this, which is also to do form.as_p. So in this case, it's going to be handled as a paragraph, and you see that this thing did not give us a little space to be able to handle some certain things. But if you reset this thing like this, you now see the space has appeared. And if you do right click and go to view page source, you will now see the whole form is being returned as a paragraph. You can see the paragraph opening and the paragraph ending. The same thing here, paragraph opening and paragraph ending. And that is what form.asp does. So that is what form.asp does. So by default we have this already. Then the next thing is to be able to submit this form. Let's see, you can see I have no button to be able to submit our form, but let's submit this form. So to be able to submit this form, we now can bring this one, which is an input type of button, and the value is going to be login. All right, if we go to this and refresh, we now have this button login. All right, but we cannot send any information here. Let's see. If we do that, because we don't have any table in our database, it's going to give us some issue. Let's click on login. I think there is a little issue that we need to handle here. Input type is going to be submit and not button. Submit. Okay. Let's refresh. Let's put random something here. Now you see it says operational error at login, no such table auth user. So this is because we don't have any table in our database. That's why we have this error. So to solve this error, what we need to do is to come to our terminal. We end this terminal. Let's clear this screen. CLS. Now what we do is we say Python manage.py migrate. So what we are actually migrating is the default table that contains the users table and so many other things in our Django. So if we do enter now, you will see Python is going to run some migration, and you see, as you can see here, you see applying content type, auth, admin, and so on. So all these things are the tables that we will have on our database. Now, just to show you, I have an extension that helps me to read SQLite, because Django comes with a default SQLite installed. So I have an extension which is SQLite viewer. SQLite, yeah, this is the extension. I have this extension, so you can install this extension if you want to be able to see your database. So let's get back. So to see my database now, if I click on this, these are the tables that I have, and if I go to auth user, which is where my users will be, you will see we have this table, which is ID, password, last login is super admin, username, last name, email is active, date joined, first name. So these are the table I have on the database. So that is the actual table that Django was telling us that we don't have. So now that we have migrated it, we now have it on our Django database. So what we now do is we run python manage.py run server again. Now our server has started. Let's refresh this, and you can see that it has sent that thing to our database, and it says please enter a correct username and password. Note that both fields may be case sensitive. So we didn't put up this. So this message was coming because we are entering a wrong password. We are entering a wrong password. Now let me show you so that you now understand that this login page works perfectly. So let me open the Django admin here. So I will say /admin. So this is one advantage of working with Django, because automatically Django creates the admin interface for you. So what I will need to do now is to end my server so that I can create a user. So Ctrl C, CLS. Now to create a super user, which is the user that will control the admin, we use Django -admin create super user. So it's going to be together, and hit enter, and it's going to, I think I made a mistake in my spelling. It says Django, no Django settings specified, unknown command, create super user. Oh, sorry, what we need to use is not Django admin. What we will use is python manage.py create super user. So let's see. Okay, it asks me my username, so let's use varsity. Let me use my default email, which is vgsicthub@gmail.com. Password, let's use test 123. Now remember, password will not show. Your password is not going to show, and it will tell me this. Okay, so super user was created successfully. So we can just clear this screen and run python manage the py run server to start our server. All right, so let's go to our website and log in from the admin. So it's going to be varsity and the password is going to be test123. We click login and you can see we are now logged in to the admin. I can log out now. Now you can see that I am logged out. I am logged out, and if I click here it will say login again. Let's log in from the one we created. So we can use the same thing, varsity, and we can use test123 and click on login, and you can see it says forbidden. And if I go to my admin back and refresh, now why is it saying forbidden? Let's see. Okay, so let me just add form action this time around. Let's add form action, and this form action should go to /login. That's all. Let's try to log in again from here. So it says forbidden CSRF verification failed, aborted, reason given for failure, CSRF token from post incorrect. In general, this can occur when there is a genuine cross-site request forgery, or when this has been used correctly for post forms. You need to ensure your browser is accepting cookies. The view passes a request to the template render, and what else? Let us refresh this, or rather let me just go to the login page. Sorry. So let's go to the login again. Let's try it again. Varsity. And test123. Okay, so everything is running successfully now. So, but we don't have anything to return. Don't worry about this particular error. So let's test it again from here. Refresh. All right, let's do something. There is one more thing I want to show you now. So, but this is just how we can build the login form. Now, assuming we don't want people to be able to see this home if they are not logged in. Now, let's do that to protect this place from being seen when a user is not logged in. So we can come back to our project. Let's close up the server. Let's end the server from running. Put this one down. Now remember, we can still customize this, but I don't want to do anything more until further notice. Let me close this. And we have this page. Let's say welcome to your dashboard. So welcome to your dashboard. So this is serving now as our dashboard. Now, and we want only login users to be able to access this particular page. So we can go to the views, and the simple way we can do this is to use this decoration that is called at login required. So we need to import login required first. So that at login required decorator is going to handle everything. So this is trying to prevent people that are not logged in from accessing this page, and we want to redirect them to the login page. That's why we said login URL is equal to login. Now we also need some certain things, like we need to import login, logout, authenticate, update session, and one more thing, we also need to import the log. So we need to also import login required. So you don't cram these things, you just have to follow the documentation. If you go to Django documentation here, you're going to see a lot of information on how to do these things. So don't cram, please. It is not advisable to cram your codes. So now you can see that we have protected this page. Now let's see, one more thing that is important is that we need to go to the settings.py and specify our login URL. So to the settings.py, where is it? Settings.py, I'll go down below this static directory. I'll just do it here. So here I am going to paste this login redirect URL. So when you are logged in, it should take you to the home page, which in our case is the dashboard page, and logout is going to also redirect you to the login page. All right, so let's see what this can do. So refresh. Oh, sorry, we need to start our server back. Python manage.py run server. All right, let's run it. So you can see it takes us to the login page. So let's log in again. Test 1 2 3. And there it is still calling up. It doesn't end in slash, and you append slash. So I think there is an issue on the slash. So from our form action, so I am going to actually delete that form action because I don't need this kind of things. Remove this form action. So let's rerun the server and start again. Okay, so I don't need anything to disturb me again. So I remove the form action. So sometimes if you have something like this, you can simply stop the server from running and restart it again. So restart the server again. All right, then let me try to access the home page again, which is the dashboard, and it takes me to the login page. And if I use a password, that a username that does not exist, it says please enter a correct username. So if I try to use Varsity, which is the super admin, and test 1 2 3, let's see again, and it takes us to the dashboard. So this is the whole thing. So one more thing is I am going to show you how to log out from this. Now logout is also a very simple something that we can still do without any stress. So let's get on to that. So let's get to the project. Close up this. Let's go to the views, and we have already imported logout here. So let's work on that. So we create a function with the name as logout. As usual, it will take requests, and it's going to also be logout requests, and it's going to return render logout.html, but I want when they are logged out, it should take them to the login. So login.html. So we can also pass in with the name, maybe just passing login directly, but here we are just passing in the template, sorry, the HTML template. So but we can still handle it this way with the name of the URL, which is going to be login, something like this. We can still do it this way, and at this point we are now returning the URL of the login page. And since we are returning the URL, we can remove the request from here. Now we know that the URLs was created. The URLs was created for the logout. I don't know if you still remember, but the URL that we had there was like this /log. So the URL is supposed to be /logout, something like this. If I hit enter now, make sure that your server is running. So there is an issue with my server. It says method not allowed, method get method not allowed. Let's close this server and rerun it again. Refresh. Okay, let me just put something that does not exist. Let's put something that does not exist, and you can see we have logout here, and the name is logout. So we should be able to use pass logout to the URLs, and it should work. Error, this page is not working, so there is an issue with this. Okay, I've seen where my issue is coming from, or my problem is coming from. I am returning render instead of redirect. So what I am supposed to do here is to return redirect, and we need to import this redirect from Django shortcut. So we can say from Django.shortcut import redirect. Okay, so we can now rerun our server, and everything is going to work now. So let's go to the home page again. So this is our page because we are logged in. Let's put /log out. We're still having issue. Okay, so I think I've seen where my problem is coming from. So here I am supposed to, I had this logout request. Instead of this, I was supposed to have alt.logout, and I will pass the request as a parameter. Then since I am using auth, I should be able to import it from the models. So from django.contrib.auth.models import auth, so that we can be able to use the authentication, and that's what we want to use. So hopefully the issue might be resolved, or it's definitely going to be resolved this time around. Let's end the server. If you do a major update like this, you should end your server as always and rerun it. All right, let's visit the dashboard again, so we can then pass in logout. Hopefully this is going to work. Still not working.